Hi, I'm Chris Nicastro. I'm the Commissioner of Education. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I'd like to share a couple of things that are going on in the department with you and try to give you an update about the things that are keeping us busy. I know you all are busy as you continue to draw your school year to a close. First, I would point you to our website where you can see some new information and a new video that we just posted. All of this can be found under our Now for Later tab. Now for Later refers to our major grassroots effort to build awareness and support and appreciation for the impact of early childhood education. Now for Later talks about how important it is for us to invest now in order to ensure success for our children later. And particularly for our business community, we want to make sure that we reach out to our business partners and that they understand how significant the investment in early childhood will be if Missouri can start devoting more time and attention and resources to this important effort. Again, you can go on our website and click on that link. There is a video there and some posters and other materials that we would encourage you to use in your districts as you spread the word about the importance of early childhood education. Secondly, I'd like to share with you a couple of reflections about a meeting that I attended last week called the International Summit on the Teaching Profession. I was fortunate to be with leaders from 27 different nations in a conversation about the things that they are doing and the things that we are doing in our country to promote the respect for the teaching profession, to increase accountability and standards for how the teaching profession is prepared and the standards to which we hold ourselves accountable, and also to talk about what are the key aspects of a really quality system that prepares educators for the needs of the 21st century. I think we all recognize that teaching is fundamental to the kind of student performance that we expect and that we know is going to be required for us to be competitive as we work in this global society. I was very interested in the conversation. A couple things really struck me. One, I was struck by the fact that to a person, every one of our international colleagues presented their information in English. I think that's a challenge that each of us, certainly I, need to embrace as we think about the fact that we haven't really emphasized foreign language instruction a great deal in our country, and I think it's something that we really need to give serious consideration if we want to be a global competitor. The second thing that struck me about the conversation was what I just alluded to a little bit. I think that other countries, those that we hold up as examples on PISA tests and other comparisons, as making really great gains and leading the world in terms of student performance, all of those countries talked about how they have raised standards for teachers and other educators. They have raised accountability. They have raised student performance. But they also, while they've done all of that, they've also raised up the profession. And within their nations, there is increasing and growing respect for teachers, for support staff, for all of us who work in education. And I think that's something that we need to really think about as we move forward. It's not an either-or proposition. We need to value educators and raise them up for greater respect and a greater level of, I guess, of position of respect in our communities, at the same time that we're raising standards and expectations. The legislative session is ongoing. I appreciate the fact that so many of you have spent so much time communicating with your legislators. I know that they too appreciate the communication. I think this year we've seen certainly lots of attention given to public education. There's no question that to a person, every one of our legislators, I think, is concerned about education quality in the state of Missouri. We all certainly have different ideas about what it will take to promote that. But there's no question that everybody is supportive of quality education for every child. As the session draws to a close, I think there's going to be continued opportunity for us to communicate the things that are really important to us, and for all of us to continue to try to support our legislators as they deal with some really difficult issues. The budget, of course, has been passed by the House of Representatives, and the Senate is taking that budget up in these next few weeks. So it's going to be a time for us to communicate particularly and to watch what's going on in the Senate. Finally, I want to draw my remarks to a conclusion today by talking a little bit about MAP testing. Certainly this is a time of the year as we approach the spring when all of our work and all of your work comes to a fruition. MAP testing is a way for our students to demonstrate what they've learned in some important areas that we believe are important for them to master. I do think that the recent publicity that's been out there about testing violations and test situations where testing has not been handled in an ethical and appropriate way are unfortunate. While no one would try to diminish the importance of assessment, and I think it's very important that our kids, our teachers, all of us recognize that assessment is an important part of our system. It's an important part of improving instruction. At the same time, we need to make sure that we're doing that in a way that reflects positively for our kids, for our schools, for our communities. No one would ever recommend that we cheat on tests in order to get better scores, and I think that by and large the education community has been vigilant about protecting the integrity of assessment. I would point out the districts that were recently highlighted in some of the media articles as districts that are doing a good job. These are districts that have self-reported violations and have made a point of making sure that their system is held to high standards of accountability and integrity. And I would applaud those districts for doing what they're supposed to do, which is to monitor closely, to make sure that testing is handled appropriately, and to report those violations if and when they occur. Those violations are rare, but it is important that we handle each and every one of those in the way that they're supposed to be handled. So please be vigilant, continue to encourage your kids to do their best. I know your teachers have prepared them well, and we're confident that once again we'll see improvement in this year's scores. Have a wonderful spring, enjoy the weather, and enjoy all the blooming flowers and trees around us. Thanks so much for what you do each day.